Hey guys, this is Faster U4 brought to you by FitLab, Tailwind Nutrition, Biomaxa and Capital Cycles. If you're a cyclist, you want to go faster? Then let's giddy up. Hey guys, welcome to episode 36 of Faster U4. Brought to you by FitLab, Tailwind Nutrition, Biomaxa, and Capital Cycles. Hey, bike racing on the weekends. The Wellington Masters Cycling Club Round the Lake Fun Race, the mini round Taupo, if you like. Did that yesterday. It went well. Let me tell you all about it. What went down? I'll tell you what I learned. Tell you what grinds my gears. I'll give you a new product. You're going to like this one. Nothing to do with me, but I just found it and I really like it. We'll talk about next week's event. Alright, let's have a look at some data. Yesterday's race in Featherston, around Lake Wairarapa, almost exactly 80 Ks. I'm pretty sure it's like from start to finish line is like, it's probably like 79.98 Ks or something. It's ridiculous. Very accurately described 80 kilometer road race. Weather was pretty good. Very light winds, which is a little bit unusual because it can be very windy there in spring, but light winds. Temperature of 13 or 14 or 15 degrees or something like that. Kind of a arm warmers and vest kind of a weather. Except for Brendan Airstrike McGrath, who was wearing 2 pairs of long gloves because he feels the cold. Sissy. Alright, let's have a look at some data here. And sorry if I sound a little bit different to normal. I'm not feeling the best. I've been coughing up all sorts of interesting stuff overnight because it appears I have some sort of chest infection. Not a great idea to race in that form, but that's what you got. 80 Ks. We averaged, look at that, 43.6 kilometers an hour. Just shows you that the bunch was generally working, lots was going on, and the winds were very light, more importantly. Average power of 284 watts for a normalized 314 watts, which is I've done in this race normalized power 330 to 340 watts before, so this was low. This is a 7 out of 10. Certainly not as hard overall really as some races, although with events like this where the field's a little bit bigger, you do get periods of time in the bunch where it's relaxed, tranquilo, and you do get periods of crazy insanity off the front, and that's just sort of what happens in a bigger bunch. We had average heart rate 152, maximum power 106.2, which would have been a little bit better if things had gone better in that sprint for me, but we'll get to that. Average cadence 92, which is a sweet spot for me. And look at that power on the, if you look at the pedaling efficiency, the left-right balance, 50-50. So that's good for me. Usually I'm about 49, 51 or 52, 49, 48, but it was good. So we started off here with bunch of about 30-something riders in the first wave. The way they do this is a number of waves. Started in the first wave, and there was a lot of action. You can see it's very stochastic, but a lot of action in that first 20 minutes or so. A low average power of 271, but a normalized of 316, so like a huge variability there. It just shows you how much it was sort of like there was attacks and following and attacks and following. I don't know that a lot of people really got dropped. The only action, there was some breaks. I went up the road with Brendan and Anthony Norder at some stage, I think. There's a few things like that happened. They never really stuck. Brendan went away again with a couple of guys for about 10 Ks, and it was brought back. And this section here of rollers around the eastern side of the lake was where a lot more action happened, where there was a big break up and sort out of the group. Coming into the, I made the selection there, and again there was sort of a lot of attempts to go away. None of them really stuck until here, coming into towards the towards Martinborough, when I just sort of had this feeling there was a bit of a lull in the group, and you kind of can see around you, you kind of get a feeling for how actively people are chasing and all that. And I kind of just stuck my head down, and I didn't really attack. I just kind of accelerated off the front. And sometimes that's a good move, because if you have some massive honk down the side, guys see that and they jump on it. But if you kind of even really sneak off the front, if you just sort of hoon off the front, everyone kind of looks around to see who's going to follow. And sometimes they don't, and you're 100 metres up the road and everyone's still looking around at each other. That can be quite a cool tactic. So it's not always about drama, you know, sometimes it's about subtlety. Well, I went up the road and that seemed to be looking pretty good. And I was joined by one Anthony Chainsaw Nelder, who was very active all day. And another guy who didn't quite know. A funny thing happened. This guy, who was obviously very strong, had a wardrobe malfunction. The fact that he had a giant tubular or something stuck down the back of his jersey that was all sticking out. So the fashion faux pas was unacceptable. I'm just joking. But he didn't kind of realise, I think, that we had a pretty good gap, and that you know, it's probably quite good to take a turn at that point rather than sitting in. You know, I'm all for being tactical, but sometimes you've got to realise when you're onto a good thing and pull through. And it's not necessarily anyone's fault. I think maybe the key issue is know what's happening, you know. Turn your head and look around, see where the bunch is, and if it's looking good, pull through. Look, I mean, people aren't always feeling that strong, and I completely understand that. But I kind of have this thing where, look, if I'm shagged out and I can't really take a turn, well, I'll still do it anyway, and it's probably a weak-ass turn. Well, people can very quickly see that you're taking a weak-ass turn, and there's two things they deduce from that. One, you're a bit tired, but two, well, you're trying anyway. And, you know, I think that's sort of where I'd sit on what you want to do. Look around and be prepared to have a go. So, he did, and we went up the road. We got to the climb out of Martinborough. We were working quite well. He got dropped by me and Anthony, and I don't know if there's another guy there or not. Ultimately, on the last 10 Ks towards Featherston, Ryan Christensen, I think it was, bridged from the group about 30 seconds to a minute behind. Got over. He was a bit shagged out from that, but he recovered. We let him recover on the back a little bit, which may have been a bad decision in the end, because he drilled us in the sprint. It was so there's 4 of us, me, Anthony, Ryan, and Kane. Must have been. Was it Kane? No, he was a bit further back. Matt, who won. Sorry, not Ryan won, Matt won. Matt Webb-Smith. And it was getting a little tactical. Me and Anthony were kind of pulling through. I really didn't want the group to catch behind, and I couldn't sort of see because of cars where they were, so I figured we just need to keep pressure on, not mess around too much. My tactic was always going to be to try to pick a wheel for the sprint, because I can't do the sprinting thing. I chose Anthony because he was very strong. and Ryan and Matt led out down the right. I stayed on Anthony a little bit, and there was a little bit of an unfortunate end to that where I did try to come around Anthony, and there was a certain amount of swerving, and I could not complete my passing manoeuvre, which is not to say it was all Anthony's fault. I simply don't know why he swerved, but it could have easily been that he was swerving out the way of one of the other riders or something. It's it's all hectic, it's all happening really fast. So I ended up 4th behind Anthony. The recording of the results is 3rd for me, and that is the official, but Anthony beat me on the line. I think he started in the wrong group or something, which is why his time was different, placing was different. So anyway, a good race. I'm not criticising Anthony for that. He's, if anything, a very good clean rider. So I'll certainly give him the benefit of the doubt on that, even though I was slightly pissed off about it at the time. So no hard feelings at all. I think people, when they kind of get a bit of a reputation, I want to have a reputation as a clean rider. I'm not saying I do it perfectly all the time, but I really try. And I think Anthony has a reputation as a clean rider as far as I can tell. So I'll certainly give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. So it was good. Happy to be in the break again. And I think what I learned was, a break in the game, as Al Pacino said, on every minute and every second. And it's not always at the end. So a race can be decided in times that are not near the end. There might be the race for you, and have the best you can do in it could be decided. It could be decided in the neutral. It could be decided that you're too far back. The hammer goes down. There's a break in the field. It can be like that. So, a race, you've got a job to do. Be aware of what's happening around you, and that applies kind of at all times. And I see guys, often what will happen is I see these strong guys, and they'll go out the road a bit, and they're not even aware really of what they're doing. They're not aware that the bunch isn't chasing them, and they look around, they go, oh, here I am by myself. What shall I do? Oh, I'll come back to the bunch. So you just wasted all the energy. I don't know why. Why don't you be brave and back yourself? And maybe someone will bridge it, maybe they won't. Well, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work and you come back to the bunch? Well, you haven't really generally lost a lot. You're probably going to be able to stay on the bunch and even have a sprint. The other thing I learned was product related, which was the Velotoze. Velotoze. If you haven't tried those, strongly recommend. I'm a size 45 and I've got the, I don't know, is it large to extra large? These are a shoe cover, and they are the most simple shoe cover I've ever seen, namely because they're basically a chunk of what appears to be quite stretchy latex rubber with holes cut out for the cleats. Now, I know that's not groundbreaking, but here's the thing. One, they've got holes for the back of your heel so that you don't wear holes in them from your heel. I know that's also kind of obvious. You're amazed how many shoe covers don't have that. So they seem to last okay. I've only worn them for 3 or 4 rides, but they're still great. They're very simple, and they keep everything out. So they're kind of like this continuous membrane around your foot, just with holes for the heel and the cleat. And that does mean there's no place for the sweat to come out, so you do end up with kind of a slightly swamp-like foot after a road race. But they're very aero, for one, because that plastic, that rubber stretches over everything, forms a smooth surface over the outside of your shoe, and the connection with your sock and leg and all that. But if you are riding in, kind of conditions where it's a bit weird or something, there's basically no way for water to get in. So I think, for just about anything, it's pretty good. I don't know if I'd wear them if it was really hot weather. Doesn't tend to be a problem here in tropical Wellington. But aside from that, I'm kind of all for the Velotoze. I got some through Grayson Napier at Ninove. The Try Ninove design, Ninove. I don't know whether he sells them or what. If not, just Google Velotoze. Velotoze. I have no relationship really whatsoever with Velotoze. I just like them. You can get bright green ones as well, and I think that's effective when you're trying to match the grip tape on your TT bike. Right. Yeah. What grinds my gears is really just the same thing I mentioned before. Guys not working in the breakaway when it's probably a good idea that they do that. Next race. Oh, if you're watching the screen, I'll just show you a photo of me and a couple of my riders. Toby Fuller, the GP shirt on, and like some sort of maniac, Stephen R2 O'Keefe next to the FitLab Panzer. Oh, and as far as results, I didn't really go through properly. Here is the kind of first wave results. Matt Webb-Smith taking a solid win over Ryan Christensen in second and me in third. Kane McCollum, the best of the followers, followed by Dan Wilashevsky, Kelvin Standrel, Brendan Eastruck McGrath. And there was, you can sort of see down here 151s, and then kind of about 4 minutes to the next group where that big chunk went away on the rollers. I won the 40 to 49 age group, the elderly gent category, by the looks of it. I didn't stay for prize giving because I had to get home to my children, so I hope I get some money or something. I don't know. I would like to say special thanks to Capital Cycles. They are great supporters of this event. They've been for a number of years, and it's appreciated that they put their money where their mouth is and really support these events. So thank you, Capital Cycles. I saw Paul Davies, who is the manager, out there shouting generally on the side of the road like a maniac. I heard him in the sprint. It's really funny, after that sprint thing happened. It's weird what you can and can't hear. And all I could hear after we went a bit sideways in the sprint was, "Go Steve and keep going anyway," or something. And so I did. Put my head down for a second hack at it. So thanks, Paul. And Gareth on the side of the road taking some photos as well. Those turned out well. It's nice to see guys coming all the way over the hill to support the race. Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. Right, next week's race is the 8th of October, 2017, a graded road race, 9 o'clock, Martinborough, Wellington Masters Cycling Club, Martinborough to Palliser Road and return, A to E grades, A to D grades, 62 Ks, E grade turns at per an hour and it's 50 Ks. Now, this course, from what I remember, is like a similar, slightly shorter version of what North Island Team Series 2, I think, is going to be like. You have got a long section of flattish, probably quite exposed to wind road down Lake Ferry Road. You have got somewhere along the line going out towards the coast, some rollers there. And one or two of those are kind of, they're quite steep. And that could be a factor. Now, depending on how far we go, I'm pretty sure we're going to take a lefty over towards Cape Palliser and go up like a long, draggy, false flatty climb. And if it is windy, that will catch people out, be strong there. turn around and come back. I think the main factor will be those short rollers in the final 20 kilometers of the race. Could be where the break happens. If you want to do well, just lean forward, put your teeth around your stem, bite very hard, and get up on the rivet, and do what you need to do. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Before the next week is the next round of the North Island Team Series, brought to you by Trust House, with George the Chilean Savage Sandoval. Alright, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. If you'd like a coaching plan from me, you can go to fitlab.co.nz. You can email me at steve@fitlab.co.nz. And I will see you on the weekend. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching / listening to Fast You Fall, brought to you by FitLab, Capital Cycles, Tailwind Nutrition and Biomaxa. If you'd like to get in touch for a coaching program or testing, you can get hold of me, steve@fitlab.co.nz, or go to fitlab.co.nz. Talk soon, guys.